Good soil is key to growing healthy plants in our dry desert climate. Unfortunately, our native soils are naturally hard and compact and don't provide nutrients plants need to thrive. Prepare to dig in to ensure your landscape has what it takes to survive the elements. The Las Vegas Valley has a variety of soil types, including clay, sand, and rock-hard caliche.
People in the Southwest often hear the term caliche, and it's kind of a, we don't know what it is. Well, I wanted to show you. This is caliche. And in other parts of the world where they got a lot more rain, they have to add lime to their soil to keep the pH in a reasonable ballpark area. We don't have that problem. Caliche is basically lime in rock form. This is what keeps our soil pH so high, which is then what keeps iron, manganese, and zinc from being available to the plants. The other thing we have is a hard pan, because when they're building the houses, they have to compress the soil so hard that it's hard for water to permeate. And one of the big reasons that plants die in the desert Southwest is not caliche, and it's not lack of nutrients or anything else, it's that there's no drainage.
These native desert soils contain a small percentage of organic matter, which is needed to support beneficial microorganisms.
Plants need many nutrients. They need about 14 of them. The ones we call the major nutrients, the ones the plant needs the most of, are nitrogen, which is critical for green, healthy leaves, phosphorus, which is really important for flowering, anything having to do with reproduction, seed production, and potassium, which is important for the plant to move water and nutrients from the soil into the leaves. Now, those are called the major nutrients because plants need the most of them. However, without the other nutrients, well, all is lost. So the ones that we worry about here in the desert Southwest are iron, manganese, and zinc. Now, we might even have these in our soil. The problem is our soils are high pH. They're basic or alkaline. And because of that, the plants aren't able to utilize those nutrients even if they were in the soil.
A visual assessment of your soil quality is a good first step in designing or remodeling your landscape. But experts also advise having your soil tested. Soil testing provides information on soil texture and chemistry. Tests also will determine the steps necessary to improve your soil.
Well, when you're testing the soil, you take some soil samples that are representative of your yard, and then you send them to a certified lab, and they will do whatever tests you tell them to do. The basic test that you mostly see is for the major nutrients. Sometimes they will also assay what's called organic matter, also something we would call compost. And you can get those numbers from the lab, and a lot of times what the lab will then do is give you recommendations based on what you're trying to put in your yard.
Your analysis is complete, but you're not ready to plant just yet. Since successful plants rely on healthy soils to support them, you'll need to do a little more work before anything can go into the ground. Start with reducing soil compaction. When soil is compacted or loses pore space, it's harder for water to infiltrate, and the soil has less water holding capacity. To break up compacted soil, use a rototiller or a pickaxe for smaller areas and soak the ground to soften it. Loose, soft soil allows plant roots to spread easily. Working organic matter or fertilizer into the soil is called amending the soil. It's better to amend the soil rather than wait for nutrients to work their way into it. Create a mix of 1/3 fertilizer to 2/3 native soil. Native plants can survive with less, but the amendments help reduce plant stress during transplant. Using the wrong type of amendment can be detrimental to our soils and water, as well as a waste of time, effort, and money. Experts recommend using composted organic material, which can decrease potential problems such as disease and weed seeds. A good store-bought fertilizer will also work.
On any fertilizer package, what you will see are 3 numbers. The first number is always going to be nitrogen. The second number will always be phosphorus, and the third number will always be potassium. But of course, you want to also make sure that the other nutrients are present, so you don't just want to add those 3 without the iron, the manganese, zinc, and the rest. Then you could have some problems. You can really cause your plants to fail because they're not going to get everything else they need.
Now comes the part you've waited for.
Once you're done with the hard labor, then you can have the fun of selecting what plants do you want to grow, what do you want to do with your soil, If you're like me, you say, vegetables. Let's get those vegetables in the ground and get them growing. So that's the big reward. But also to see your soil going from something that really looks like dirt with rocks and a few weeds into something that is lush and green. What a feeling of reward, what a feeling of accomplishment.
Like building a house, your landscape needs a solid foundation. Support your plants with the right nutrients and watch your garden grow. Reporting for Waterways, I'm Jason Gifford.